Welcome to another edition of Dancin Dan's Beach Music Archive, sponsored by Forever in a Song, where yesterday's memories live forever in a song. Today, we turn back the clock and spend some time with one of beach music's most beloved voices, Ken Knox of Chairmen of the Board. From unforgettable hits like Give Me Just a Little More Time and Pay to the Piper to the Carolina anthem, Carolina Girls. Ken Knox has entertained generations of fans with his smooth vocals, infectious energy, and love for beach music. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this special visit with a true legend of the beach music and soul from the Dancin Dan Beach Music Archives. Here's Ken Knox of Chairman of the Board. Ken, tell me a little bit about your growing up.
I come from a family of about, three of us were musicians or singers. My brother was a saxophonist, and, I played saxophone as well and sing. So does my brother. And my sister was she was in a gospel group, and they were like one of the first gospel groups signed to Motown Records back in the day. Those two were definitely my influences, my sister and my brother. And so naturally they're way older than I am. And so then I came along and picked up the instrument and started playing.
So how old were you when you started playing sax?
I think it was junior high school. So, I was probably 15.
So did you play in some bands in school and stuff?
I didn't get into a band until high school. I was probably 17. Yeah, 17. I was with this local band. They chose me, and I couldn't believe they even thought enough about me, my talents, to put me in the band, and that was a thrill. So I was like 17 in my first band playing around the city of Detroit.
So how did you meet General Johnson?
Here's how I met General. So I'm 17 years old, playing in local bands around Detroit. Chairman of the Board happened to be one of my favorite groups. I met Danny Woods, the other member of Chairman of the Board. I met him first with the local band I was in. Danny had came in and asked if he could sit in. And at that time, back in the day, you had a lot of artists that would come in and just sing, a couple songs with the band. So when that happened, Danny said, look, we're reforming the Chairman of the Board, and I want you to come audition. When I walked into Invictus Records, I saw some more of my idols there, the Funkadelic. So when I go into audition, those guys are sitting in that room, and I'm saying, oh man, I know I'm not going to make this. So I met General and the Funkadelics, and to my surprise, after the audition, they said, okay, be ready to leave in 3 days. Met General, Danny.
So when did you join the Chairman of the Board?
Well, I joined the group in 1973, a long time ago. So General and Danny and myself, we had at least 40 years together, from 35 to 40-something years together.
So do you write music?
Well, here's the deal. General Johnson was a big influence on me because him and he was our principal songwriter. He wrote it, Grammy Award winning writer, writer of the year. I mean, I'm talking about nationally, And so when we came south, we started recording our own music, and him and I would produce the records together. But General wrote everything. I didn't become a writer until General died, because it's a bit intimidating sitting next to this guy when he's won Grammys for writing. So my strong point was not writing, but my strong point was like in arranging and producing. But when General died in 2010, I knew I had to move the group forward. And the first song ever written was a song called You, Y-O-U. Mm-hmm. And I never forget it because I had this little application called GarageBand on my iPad that my wife had gotten me. I'm sitting here playing with this thing, and it was like General was in my ear telling me what to say, telling me where to do this and what to do. And so I called my wife into the room. Again, I never forget, it was on a Sunday, about 9:30 at night. I remember it well, never forget it. I played it for her. She said, Ken, that's a song. So I called the studio the next morning. I played for them over the phone. They said, get on over here. When I went to the studio, they said, hey, this is like General's never left us. That we're all still together. You know, meaning myself, General, the engineer, and and the recording band. So to answer your question about writing, I was forced to do that when General passed. I didn't think I could do it, and but I think the whole time he was teaching me, and I didn't even realize it.
So, what song brought you the most recognition?
Patches, the Clarence Carter song "Patches" was really written. General wrote that, and we recorded it first. Chairman of the board recorded it first, but Clarence had a hit on it. So actually, General won the Grammy for that. Him and Ronald Dunbar. Ronald Dunbar wrote "Give Me Just a Little More Time," the mega hit. But you know, we've won awards. We're in the North Carolina Music Hall of Fame, the South Carolina Music Hall of Fame, and it's not bad from guys from Detroit. We feel like we are the adopted sons of the Carolinas.
Did you guys do any street singing?
Well, everybody did that stuff. I mean, see, here's the deal. Danny grew up in Atlanta. I'm sure he did his part of it. General grew up in Virginia, in Norfolk, Virginia, and I'm sure they did the same. In Detroit, we did it. A lot of times, there were instruments involved, so I'm on both sides of the coin. I can play and sing, and we really didn't have the street corner type of deal. We just basically go to my house, get our instruments, and start jamming and playing every Temptation song that we can think of, or Miracles, or Junior Walker, because Junior Walker was my idol by me playing sax. So yeah. I mean, street corner for sure, or basements where you practice at, you know.
So, have you been in any TV or movies?
We've been in some. Well, let me put it this way. James Brown used to have was Soul Train was one of the shows that the group was on. James Brown had a show called Future Shock. We did his show. Of course, before I got with the group, they did Tonight Show, the David Frost Show. As far as movies, they wanted us to be in this movie called Shag. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, I do.
They wanted us to be in it, but they wanted us to straighten our hair out, like we were,
like James
the
Brown.
guys wearing, yeah, like James Brown and wearing do rags, and we turned it down.
That's a big request, isn't it?
Oh, huge request. But you know what? The guys that they did get to take our place are friends of mine, and they did it. They're called the Votis Brothers.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're good friends of mine on still today. So they did it. Yeah. Now, I was supposed to be in Shake, Rattle, and Roll. I was going to be a part of it was a group like Bruce Springsteen, but only back in the day. So they had sent for me to do the part, but by my schedule I couldn't do it. Yeah, I could not do it because we were working too much, and I couldn't find the time to go and shoot my scenes. But we've appeared. Of course, Give Me Just a Little More Time has been in movies. Carolina Girls has been in a lot of TV shows and some movies. You know, we've been very, very fortunate to have a loving fan base nationally, worldwide. We still travel to the UK until this pandemic happened, but
Right.
we've been going back and forth to there since 2016. Huge fan base in the Northern Soul market in the UK.
So, what would you consider your most successful song?
Give Me Just a Little More Time is definitely the most successful. Been in movies, Swiffer commercials. I don't know if you ever heard of that.
Yep.
Yep. So, man, there's been in countless movies, and it's like every time I'm watching TV, at one point for 2 years straight, that Swiffer commercial was on. And,
I hope you guys get royalties from that.
Yeah,
Good.
it's dry. It's dry now, but yeah, but back then. Oh, and then we did another one for Slim Fast. So yeah, we did a Slim Fast commercial using 39, 21, 40 shape.
So, how did you come about the song Jack and Jill?
Yeah, Steve Harvey, his son Britt Hardy came to me, and Craig Woolard, They came to me and said, Ken, we want to do a compilation album with all the bands, and this is a tribute to Steve to help raise money, you know,
Mm-hmm.
for his situation. I said, okay, I'm in. And they sent me 4 songs. So out of the 4 songs, I said, wait a minute, Jack and Jill. I said, man, we're gonna do Jack and Jill. And reason being, Ray Parker happens to be a friend of mine. So we grew up in Detroit together. So it was a natural fit for us to do this song. And that way, all 3 guys, myself, Thomas Hunter, and Brandon Stevens, we shared lead on it. And it was just the right song for us. And at the same time, it was me honoring Steve and me honoring my friend Ray, who, as you know, from Ghostbusters fame and whatever else. And so that's how it came about. And people have taken on to that record because they love our version of Jack and Jill, opposed to the original.
All right. When did you first discover the term beach music?
From General, he said, "Look, there's a brand of music down south called beach music," and I'm saying, "What? Jan and Dean, the Beach Boys?" He said, "No, it's music. It's actually top 40 music of the day, but they call it beach music because the kids could only play it or hear it in Myrtle Beach because they couldn't play that stuff at home." And that's how I heard the term beach music because it was only at the beach because the kids could not bring that stuff home. It was the devil's music.
Can you share something funny that may have happened with you while you were on the road?
Oh, I'll tell you something that's funny. So we're playing this club in Charlotte back in the day. So one day, General Danny had left out the green room. And I noticed they were gone so long. I said, wait a minute, where are they? And when I went outside, the police had them handcuffed.
Wow.
I walked up to them. I said, that's the police. Well, what's going on? I said, we're the group that's playing here tonight. Well, that's not what we have on our, whatever they said. And so then they bust out laughing, man. They pulled one over on me. I thought they were going to jail and I had to do this show by myself. I said, oh my God. So that was pretty funny. And the police went along with it. That was great. The police didn't even do that because back then, police, they were fans of ours as well. We can go anywhere and they would know who we were. If we go to a restaurant, we hadn't seen them there, they would come over and talk to us. That's the good thing about music. Let me say this. A journalist once wrote, what does Martin Luther King and the chairman of the board have in common? They bring the races together.
Absolutely.
And I never forgot that. And that's what I love about our fan base because through thick and thin, they have always supported us and still support us.
Yeah, I think today we're less racist today than any time in history.
Oh yeah, you're right. You see the movement.
Mm-hmm.
People are crying out, and the music helps. I love the fans of the Carolinas and the UK. And well, the thing about Chairman of the Board, we're known across the world,
Mm-hmm.
and that helps. And it helps when I receive messages from people from California or Las Vegas, sending me notes, especially when I lose someone like General. And, then recently, 2 years ago, we lost Danny.
Mm-hmm.
And that showed the strength of how we reach people around the world. And I wouldn't choose any other occupation than what I'm doing now. It's still a job. Our job is to make people happy and to make them forget their problems that they've had, that day or that week. And then they come up to us and say, we're so glad we came to see y'all tonight because you made me feel good. So, man, I owe it all to these people here and my band.
So what advice could you give someone just starting out in the business?
Well, I had the same question 3 days ago on the podcast. It's very simple. For me, be true to yourself. Don't let, if you have a direction you want to go in musically, don't bend. Stay with it, and you will make a path. As long as you stand true, rehearsing, doing the best you can, I think success you will find. So my thing is be true to yourself. And that's why we've had longevity. Because Carolina beach music is what has kept us afloat by being true to ourselves. But General always had a philosophy. If you're getting served breakfast in bed, why get up and go to the dining room table?
Wow, that's a true statement. Tell me, where can people go to find out about Chairman of the Board and Ken Knox?
Okay, we have a website, of course, www.thechairmenoftheboard.com. And then we're on Facebook, The Chairmen of the Board Facebook. And then my personal Facebook page is Ken Knox. You can find us Twitter, all the places. Just put either one of those on. And also, believe it or not, we have a podcast. And it comes on every Thursday. And we have people on. We just had Ralph Johnson from Earth, Wind and Fire, had him on. We had Ray Parker on a couple weeks ago. We had Ron Dante of the Archies. I said all that to say this. What we're doing is, or quarantine time, I'm using that time to do our own show. So they can also find us on that too. The name of the show is called That's My Story. And that's on every Thursday, and people can watch that. Because like I said, we bring all the national artists on. So
tell me some of the members of your band.
The Chairman of the Board consists of Ken Knox, Thomas Hunter, Brandon Stevens. Our backing band, they're known as the Executives, and that's Jerry D. Washington on bass, Jerry Midas Hardison on keys, Jerome Joseph on drums, John Page III on tenor, Doug Burns on trumpet, and Rod the Real McCoy on guitar.
Thanks for joining us for this edition of the Dancin Dan Beach Music Archives. We hope you enjoyed this special conversation and a chance to hear the stories behind the music. Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and share so you won't miss future interviews with the legends, entertainers, and personalities who helped create the soundtrack of our lives. The Dancin Dan Archives are brought to you by Forever in a Song, turning life's memories into song, one story at a time. Until next time, this is Dancin Dan saying thanks for listening and keep those memories playing.